Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, how are you students? How's life? I hope that you have a great day today. So today we're going to have asynchronous learning for our course today because as you know that we have spent synchronous meetings in the previous presentations. So today we're going to explore another angle of media, and it is about learning style and media. So what do you know about learning style? So learning style ada macam-macam dan tiap orang akan berbeda dan is it okay to be different? Of course, because everyone will have different way of life basically. So let's explore on this idea, learning style and media. Kenapa sih penting kita untuk belajar tentang ini? Karena later on when we select certain media into our classroom and perhaps we want to create the media, we really need to know that the students' learning style can be supported with different type of media. Jadi media tertentu akan bisa mensupport learning style yang berbeda juga. So it's actually great to know that if you are able to explore different learning style that can be catered by certain media, so that's a great thing. So seperti yang tadi saya sudah sampaikan, how we process information from one person to the other is different. Jadi ada beberapa orang yang memang lebih senang belajar di situasi yang rame, ada juga orang yang nggak bisa belajar ketika bahkan ditungguin sama temannya. So again, so this is different learning style and it's not really, it's not incorrect. It's just okay to be different. So here I would like to discuss about the elements that affect learning style. So this work is published by Dunn and Dunn. So this is the person, and they decide that the learning style model with the stimuli in different areas that has these elements. Maksudnya gimana? So let's have a look. In the stimuli, di situ ada environmental, emotional, dan seterusnya sampai ke psychological. Dan di sebelah kanan adalah elemen-elemen yang ditemukan berdasarkan stimulus tersebut. So how can we read this graphic? Okay, so I will help you out. So for example, environmental di sini ada sound, light, temperature, and design. Maksudnya berarti gimana nih? Okay, so when we live with certain sounds or certain lights in certain temperature with different arrangement, furniture for example, it will also shape the learning style. Misalnya, ketika seseorang udah biasa hidup di area yang memang udah biasa berisik, di mana-mana ada suara, bahkan tengah malam juga rame. So they will have no difficulties in learning in the noisy situation. So it will be different with those who used to live in a very quiet area. So they might face difficulties to process the information in noisy environment. So that's how it happens. Light and temperature also take place. Jadi ada beberapa orang yang nggak bisa mikir kalau pas lagi very cold, for example. So this shows that environmental can shape the learning style model. Okay. Another stimuli is emotional. Di sini ada kata-kata motivation, responsibility, task, persistence, and structure. So here, it means that when we are motivated, we tend to have a good learning, right? And therefore, when we are motivated, we have a better level of responsibility and we will perform well in our task or assignment completion. So sociological yang berarti bahwa apakah orang itu sering belajar sendiri atau with friends, with parents, it will also shape our learning style model. Jadi ini adalah gambaran bagaimana stimuli-stimuli ini bisa berpengaruh kepada learning style seseorang. Okay, so let's go deeper. So when we explore learning style theories, ada banyak sekali experts di area sana. So some of the famous ones are 1, 2, 3, 4. The first one is Gardner's multiple intelligence. Pernah dengar kan tentang kecerdasan majemuk atau multiple intelligence? Nah, itu diinisiasi oleh Gardner, and he stated that learning styles reflect deep-seated features of the cognitive structure, including patterns of ability. Jadi, ketika seseorang itu mempunyai kemampuan untuk melakukan sesuatu, nah disitulah learning style itu juga dibentuk. Another experts like Fark and Fak, misalnya di sini, fokusnya ke visual, auditory, reading, kinesthetic. So these are the explanation. Okay. The type of intelligence. Nah, di sini juga ada banyak macam, dari naturalist, musical, logical, mathematical, existential, interpersonal, bodily kinesthetic, dan seterusnya. Nah, dengan kecerdasan majemuk ini, seseorang akan punya performance yang lebih menonjol di bidang tertentu ketika mereka harus berada di situasi bahwa mereka harus bisa semuanya. Karena nggak bisa kan. So some people, they are good in music, for example, but they bad at logical and mathematical. Or some people are good in interpersonal skill, tapi ketika mereka harus ngomongin tentang logis, so they have difficulties. So again, so it's actually part of the multiple intelligence. Then we comes to the FARK, V-A-R-K, visual, auditory, read and write, and also kinesthetic. Pernah dengar tentang ini? So learning style, ada visual, oral, read and write, and kinesthetic. I'll give you time to comprehend the information. Okay, so for visual learners, they are fast talkers. Mereka ngomong cepet banget, nggak sabaran. Terus use words and phrases that evoke visual images, and they see and visualize because they concern more on what they see. However, on the other hand, ada oral. These type of learners are those who slow speakers. They speak very slowly. They're natural listeners because they listen very carefully. Linear thinkers and prefer explanation over text. Jadi mereka ekspektasinya dapat penjelasan secara oral, like this. Mereka sebenarnya tetap bisa belajar ketika cuma melihat slide, tetapi mereka nggak akan mendapatkan efek yang sama. So they will have better effect when they got the explanation in auditory. So therefore, they listen and verbalize. Next, ada juga yang namanya read and write. So they prefer written text, emphasize text-based input and output, and they enjoy reading and writing. Ada beberapa orang juga loh yang lebih senang untuk written text. I don't really like those explanations. It's okay for me just to read this information. That's enough. So this type of person also take place in some classes. And lastly, we have kinesthetic, and they are slowest talkers. They slow to decide, use all tenses to engage in learning, do and solve. And they prefer hands-on approaches. So biasanya orang-orang seperti ini orang yang nggak bisa diam secara fisik. So when they learn, they tend to move their body, they move their leg, they move their hand, they're busy playing with things, pen, papers around them, just to make sure that they have physical activities when their brain are processing. So what I'm going to do, what I want you to do next is go to this site, farklearn.com. You can just click it in the presentation. And what you need to do is choose the answer which best explains your preference and click the box next to it. Jadi di situ ada pernyataan and then choose the answer. And you can click more than one if a single answer doesn't match your perception. Jadi di situ ada pilihan, tapi di sini pilihannya not only single, you can select some choices if you think that itu elu banget. Then you can leave blank any question that doesn't apply. Ini ngapain sih Miss? Terusan, ya dengan mengisi kuesioner ini kalian bisa tahu secara detail, not really detail though. You will be able to identify what is your learning style. Kenapa ini penting? Karena biar kalian tahu dengan metode apakah kalian lebih cocok untuk belajar gitu. Oke ya. So I will need to know the report later in the submission. Jadi, so I will assign this task, and for this you need to submit the screenshot with the analysis. Okay, so if you are visual learners, apa yang terjadi? So these are the detail. So make sure to look at study materials as much as possible. So you will be helped most with charts, maps, notes, flashcards, infographics, anything. So you need to sit close to the front to avoid visual distractions. Jadi harusnya tipe-tipe visual ini mereka selalu duduk di depan. Gitu. Karena apa? Karena mereka nggak pengen visualisasinya itu terdistract sama apapun. Okay, next is try to keep surrounding neat and tidy karena mereka bakalan terdistract banget kalau seandainya pemandangannya nggak indah, so basically. So you can read yourself the rest. I will move on to the auditory. So what learning style fits you best if you are auditory? So the same with the visual one. When you are auditory, you need to make sure that you are sitting in a place where you can easily hear the lesson. Jangan sampai orang-orang yang auditory itu duduknya jauh sekali dari dosennya, di mana mereka dengerin aja nggak jelas. Gitu. So make sure that you sit in reasonable distance so that you can listen to the explanation clearly. Recording the lesson may help so that you can fill the gaps in your notes. Jadi kalau misalnya kelewatan, kalian bisa mendengarkan lagi recordingnya and you can have better comprehension. And then talk to people about what you are learning also help because that's how you listen to their voices, listen to the explanation, and you learn better. Okay, so you can read the rest yourself. And let's move to the kinesthetic. Nah, seperti yang saya tadi sudah bahas, orang kinestetik itu sebenarnya orang yang nggak bisa diam. So they try creating something to help you remember the lesson. Jadi mereka biasanya sibuk bikin conceptual papers atau apa, sit near the door or somewhere where you can easily get up and move around karena mereka merasa bahwa they cannot really sit continuously within that particular time. And they love activities such as cooking, and construction, engineering, and arts. So they learn at best when they move. Nah ini sebenarnya nggak salah gitu. Bahkan ketika universitas, di level universitas, itu kita juga harus memberikan kenyamanan untuk mahasiswa yang memang learning style-nya adalah kinesthetic. So don't get very distracted when one of your friends moving their pants, and then they play with the papers, and they move their legs, kayak bergetar gitu, padahal nggak ada apa-apa, kayak berasa gempa. So actually it's part of kinesthetic. So next is the read and write learner. Oke, kembali sebenarnya. Okay, so the characteristics are they studies to learn. Mereka senang banget belajar. They like to read. They big on notes. The perfect students, yeah, because they are structured. They love to take notes. Mereka senang banget menyimpan catatan apa yang disampaikan dosen. Mereka catat, and they are able to use the words in written form. Nah, di sini memang kalian bisa tahu di kelas siapa aja sih yang senang nulis kan ketahuan. Nah, di sini berarti tipe orang tersebut adalah read and write. Karena secara struktur mereka lebih baik, mereka lebih senang menulis semua catatannya, and sometimes they also write in their perspective. Jadi tidak apa yang dikatakan guru, tapi apa yang mereka tangkap itulah yang mereka tulis. So, based on research, 65% people are visual, 30 of them are verbal, and 5% are experiential. Berarti gimana? Berarti kebanyakan dari kita learning style-nya adalah visual. Kenapa? Nah, ini so this is the cognitive theory. Aku ingin melingkan dengan teori namanya cognitive theory. So learning is part of is the mental processes by which learners take in, interpret, store, and retrieve information. Jadi dengan stimulus mereka berproses dan akhirnya mereka punya respons di sana. Secara lebih jelimet bisa dilihat di sini. So this work was conducted by Mayers in 2009, and he is able to conceptualize how the multimedia presentation with the sensory and memory can be put whether it is long term or short term. So maksudnya gimana? So words can be captured by ears or eyes, and here we select the words and we can organize them, and therefore we have the verbal mode. Ketika kata-kata itu ditangkap oleh mata, so we select the image, we organize the image, and we have pictorial model. Later on, when we integrate that information, it becomes the prior knowledge. And hopefully, it stays in long-term memory. So this is the explanation of cognitive theory. Ada banyak sekali teori yang berkait connected to this, tapi aku nggak ngomongin secara banyak karena aku pengen fokus ke satu hal, tapi kalian lebih ngerti secara mendalam. Oke, nah ini apa Miss? Oke, maksudnya adalah karena berdasarkan riset yang tadi sudah saya sampaikan, that 65% people are visuals, so we need to think how we can accommodate them with appropriate media. Dan salah satu media yang saya ingin kalian buat adalah infographic. So this is not something new. So if you confuse what infographic is, you can have a look at the picture here. Infographics show us information using pictures, words, and numbers. Our brains are good at making sense of pictures. It takes us longer to work out what words are trying to tell us. This means that pictures are helpful when we are trying to understand something. Kalau yang aku display di sini bukan infografis, mungkin akan kelihatan boring banget. So I just write down the text, that's it. So it's not eye-friendly. Nah, infographic it's short for information graphic. Jadi bagaimana informasi itu disajikan dengan grafis-grafis yang menarik. So that is actually the idea. So it help us to visualize what numbers or fact means. Jadi dia bisa membantu seseorang untuk memvisualisasikan ke dalam sini informasi penting apa yang harus didapat. So instead of writing 1 cup, displaying the picture is actually more effective. Contohnya seperti ini. So it use letter and number in size. They can have outlines, colors, errors, and boxes, and also shapes. Okay. Kenapa ini penting? Karena when we have the infographic, it will be easier for us to understand information, and therefore we are able to learn and remember it. We can store it in long-term memory. Tujuannya itu. So what makes a good infographic? It's easily to be understood, journey, unique view, structure, message, and visual treat. Okay, 5 reasons why infographics works. So well-designed information heightens the reader's interest before the information is actually proceeded. Kita bisa tahu bahwa quarter second. So sebenarnya our brain only takes quarter second, seperempat detik untuk memproses visual information. Jadi akan lebih cepat. Maksudnya apa gitu. Jadi ketika kita lihat gambar, kita akan lebih paham daripada ketika membaca teks. 8 seconds is average attention span. Jadi ketika kita memperhatikan sesuatu sebenarnya nggak bisa lama-lama. Makanya iklan dibuat sangat singkat sekali karena untuk maintain the attention span. So 93% of daily communication is non-verbal. So that's 4. We need to have infographic. So 5 tips for creating this. Choose one goal. Jadi harus ada tujuan jelasnya mau membuat apa. And then use graphic and visuals. Keep it short and sweet. Okay, masalah sweet di sini berarti depends on your creativity. Keep it short means that the information given it to be concise and also reliable. Jangan lupa. So di sini aku memberikan suggestion of best infographic maker software in 2020. So you can just have a look to these websites. Ada Canva, Piktochart, Easily, Visme, Venngage, dan seterusnya. Sampahku lewat. Aku tunggu ya. Oke, dan di sini juga bisa dilihat how many number of free templates in videos, animation, downloading, sharing on social media, anything. So you can select one of these, or you can just try it out in every website to know which one is better for you. So, yang akan kita lakukan untuk midterm project adalah you need to have a pair word. Kenapa kok harus pair word? Because I want to have I want you to have someone to handle with all the complexities, with the content and also the digital skills. Saya ingin kalian bisa bekerja sama untuk not only focus on the content, but also to make engaging, meaningful, and creative infographic. Jadi kalian bisa saling support. Next, create an infographic that can be used to support English learning at schools. So the focus is on English learning. Balik lagi ke pembelajaran bahasa Inggris. Nggak boleh yang lainnya. And you can choose in any levels from the junior high school to high school level. The topic will need to be discussed with the lecturer, so you really need to consult with me about what your plan is. Jadi kita bisa tahu bahwa nanti infografik itu bisa dipakai untuk pembelajaran in a real classroom. Next, it should be an authentic design, materials, pictures, words itu harus authentic. Authenticnya maksudnya gimana? Berarti boleh nggak misal aku lihat informasinya dari online resource? Yeah, sure, you can do that. But you need to paraphrase that. Nggak boleh sama persis, harus di-paraphrase. Harus original. Paraphrase from the existing, reliable information, jadi nggak boleh dari Wikipedia. It's better for you to find better and reliable information out there. And Indonesian context is a must. Maksudnya gimana? So for example, when you want to highlight students healthy lifestyle, itu ada di pelajaran anak SMP kelas 2. So what you can do is suggest them Indonesian healthy snacks at school. Misalnya apa nih? Berarti jajanan yang sebenarnya sehat dan harusnya ada di sekolah tuh apa? So you can talk about nogosari, for example, or you can talk about lemper, or you can talk about tempe goreng, anything. So in our context, paham ya? Itu lebih bermakna bagiku daripada you talk about burgers, pizza, spaghetti, anything. Tapi itu bukan punya kita, gitu ya. So you know what the challenge is, and so after this, try to think of with whom you will work together, and in the next activity, I will try to map out the topic that you design. Jadi setelah ini silakan diskusikan dengan teman sekelompoknya, kira-kira akan membuat topik apa. Nah, untuk ini saya sarankan kalian punya option topik 1 dan topik 2. Kenapa? Karena saya tidak mengizinkan kalian punya topik yang sama satu kelas ini. Gitu ya. Alright, so I think that's all for today. Thank you very much for everything. I hope that you are happy and healthy, and also you can have more energy and more understanding about this media, especially about the task. Gitu ya, tetap semangat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, so